I'm Bill. I'm with Cali Moto TV. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the garage, where today we are kicking off the 2020 MT-03 Build. And if you guys have already seen the delivery video, you guys know we bought this to build for you guys on the channel. We also have done our first ride, so if you haven't seen that, we're gonna link that up above. But today is the official kickoff day of modding. Now, I've done a couple mods to it. You guys can see I've thrown on the aero exhaust. That's something that we kind of had sitting around the garage. I first really wanted to see if it fit. It's off a 2015 R3, and it did fit with some minor modifications to the front plastic piece. But I've done some things like the horn delete. That was pretty simple, 2 bolts and a plug. Pulled that thing off. The front fender reflectors, I took those off. The mirrors, we've deleted them and put some bar end mirrors on. But today we are heading to the back of the bike, where we are losing the oil dong. That's right, the rear diaper is going away. And while we're back here, we are going to be adding in an integrated MotoDynamics taillight. Now, you guys may have seen on the Aprilia, we have the Aprilia MotoDynamic taillight. Let's get this thing shown you real quick. So real quick, nice. It's got the integrated blinkers in it. So we're going to be throwing the same thing basically into the R3. So MotoDynamic, we've got the rear license plate eliminator and the tail light. Everything's all laid out. Looks like a fairly easy job. We're going to be removing this back seat. Now, this back seat, whew, it weighs quite a ton. So I do have a rear cowl coming for the rear seat. But so this is where you guys are going to be working today. And first we're going to get all of the back plastics off and the internals out. With that, that's basically going to allow access for us to pull the tail light out. Also is going to allow access to pull the license plate bracket and blinkers off. We're going to lose the blinkers, and then we're going integrated on everything. So basically this will be nice and clean. Now, a couple other things I've got sitting over there. I have this really cool by Pug, this kind of rear fender. It's cool looking. I'll show you guys it. We've got levers already from Vortex. We do have some rear sets here from Vortex. So they're sitting right over here waiting for the install. So give me a comment down below. Let us know what you guys are interested in getting installed. I do really want to do an in-depth, just a lever install and a rear set install and this install. I want to try to do an install video for as much as possible on this bike. So let's get into the rear end. Let's start to get it pulled out and pulled apart and see how easy it is to replace this taillight and the fender eliminator. All right, you guys, so we have the drop down cam up here, and so we're gonna be basically just working in this area. So you're gonna need a 4 millimeter Allen. I like to use the sockets. You're gonna need a 10 millimeter socket, okay? And a Phillips head screwdriver. And I like to have just a little pick here. It makes it easy to get into this little guy right here and this little guy right here. And there's a couple other little places you're gonna be doing the pick at. So let's start first with removing this little tray here. So there's 2 little pins. You'll see if you push that in there, you can see these little pegs pull out. And make sure you keep a hold of those little tabs. And so we're gonna pull both these out, which should allow us to access this little tray. So we're gonna ditch this. This is definitely gonna go, and well, for now. And then this is gonna give us access to our plugs and all of everything that we need. So first thing we're gonna do is work here on the back, and you're gonna see this has got a Phillips head screwdriver, 1 here, and then 1 here. This is going to pull your rear little tail plate off. So the tail plate slides back and it's just kind of clipped in there. So you'll see it kind of slides back and it's got the little clips here. So when it goes back in, you're gonna kind of go back in, get it to slide, then back in. So we'll see that in a second. So we'll set this aside. And then what we're gonna do is we need to access the side panels. And these side panels are hung in by two little clips here. And then there are two little Phillips heads on each end here. So first thing we're gonna do is let's go ahead and pull out this clip here and this clip here. That's gonna give us access to have that loose. And then we are gonna actually remove up here. You'll see there's two little 4mm Allens. So we're gonna remove these two front Allens. All right, so we'll pull that tray off. All right, and now we're gonna get into this side area. So we need to get this side piece removed. Let's see, I'm not sure if we have to remove the tank. We may have to remove the tank, but let's see if we can get enough in the back. Let's grab our Phillips head and we're gonna go crisscross. There's two Phillips, one back over here and one over here. This is gonna relieve the rear quarter fairing for the tail. So I think, let's see, we've got two pegs on the bottom. So we're gonna go underneath right here. There's a peg. And there's another peg, two other pegs back here. So let's go ahead and grab those while we're down here. So we're gonna grab a total of 3 on each side. Total of 6 little pegs here, okay? And we'll nail the other 3 because I think that's gonna get us loose over there. All right, and so now we're kind of getting loose back here. And perfect. So the goal of all of this was basically to break this loose right here to now be able to pull the rear 2 4mm Allens. So these are to use the ratchet. And then we should be broken free from the taillight. So the taillight's held in by the top 2 bolts, but then the side fairings kind of clip in there and hold the rest of it in place. So we should be, if all is correct, we should be loose. And there we are. So we've got our taillight loose, okay? Now we're gonna run this back down and there should be a plug down here. All right. Let's go ahead and pull the power plug up. And it looks like there's our plug. So what we're going to do is snip this wire. So you're going to get in here and snip this wire tie. And, man, they really buried this. You might want to remove this seat. Let's see if we can get into it with the pick. So again, I like the little pick here. So this is going to allow me to pull this up as I pull it. There we go. So I think we're okay. So there's our tail light. Oh, I hear a bushing falling out. There are. So careful, because there are little plastic bushings. I'm assuming we're going to need to reuse these, so make sure you keep this little plastic bushing. And I think we're going to be using all of these bushings. So 2 bushings, 2 bushings, 2 bushings, and then these 2 top ones. So let's make sure we set all that aside. All right, so we've got the tail light out. So now, obviously, you can skip forward if you're only doing the tail light, But if you are here doing the additional, let's go ahead and start getting into the tail. So there are 4 screws holding the tail in. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, and they're all 10 millimeters. So we'll break all them loose. All right, and our final one, we're gonna just grab the tail and hold it. Kind of take some weight off here, because as soon as this bolt comes out, the tail is free like a little jailbird. So it's still plugged in. So we have a couple sets of plugs here, 3 sets of plugs. And one set is running to this white plug. That's an easy one. So let's see, pull that pin up, and one plug, that goes down there. And then our second plugs are, buried. Oh boy, they're definitely buried. So these are our blinker plugs. So we're just trying to kind of get everything out of the way. And I think I'm going to remove the seat just to kind of get better access to there. All right, so we have the rear seat off, which is definitely giving us better access. So remove the seat from the get-go. Hopefully you're not that far. So you can see our plug here that we're looking for is this plug and this plug. So we've got this plug buried under here. So this one looks like it's going to be our blinkers. So we've got one done there. And we've got one more, which is this black plug here. Not sure what that goes to, but we're going to find out. And now we can go ahead and pull that plug through. And now we've got one plug through, 2 plugs through, and 3 plugs through. And the tail is completely removed. All right, so with the 2020 Yamaha, they did change the blinker plug. So this is one blinker and this is the other blinker. This is the tail light, and then I've already run the license plate lights up here. So the issue that we're running into with the MotoDynamic is that in 2020, they switched this plug, which means that this standard, which if you guys are Yamaha folks, you guys know this is basically a standard Yamaha plug, and it no longer fits because this is what the new Yamaha blinker plugs look like. So what we have to do is we have to obviously cut these plugs off. So we are going to be chopping these off, splicing them into the MotoDynamic light, which is again onto these ends here. And then getting all installed. So go ahead and watch me get that all spliced up and cleaned up, and then we'll be ready to roll. All right, so with any new model motorcycle, when you just think everything is exactly the same, it's not. So the 2015 to 19 taillight is slightly different because of the wire harnesses up here for the blinkers. Now, what's a little bit odd, and I don't know if it's just the power polarity, but so the black plug goes to the yellow MotoDynamic plug, so the black plug to the yellow, but the grounds are kept separate. You do not hook the grounds up, okay? And then the white plug, that's hooked to the blue. Again, don't hook the ground up. So then now we've got our taillight on, perfect. Brake light, perfect. And then we've got our right side sequential blinker, and our left side should be on, but something clearly is loose. So I've got to button everything. Oh, the cable came off. So I've got to button everything up for the yellow side, but it's all set up. So what we'll do is go ahead and pull this back off, get everything 100%, and then installed back on. All right, so first thing we're gonna do is we're actually gonna mount the plate on first before we get to the tail light. So the plate, you're gonna see, you're gonna run the wire for your light through there, and the small side goes to the back, the big side goes to the front. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put it underneath the bike. We're gonna run the wires through the bottom so we can get those pulled through here. And then once we get this laid up flat, what we're gonna do is line up the bolts holes, and we're gonna take one of the bolts that's provided from MotoDynamics. We're gonna throw it in there along with a washer and one of their locking nuts. So basically we're just gonna kind of get the first one going to kind of hold it in, and then we'll repeat this 4 times, or 3 more times, so 4 total, because we want to make sure we've got all of them. So once we get the first one in, then we can go down here and add our next one. Just gonna come out right through there. Perfect. Perfect. Everything's lining up good. All right, so everything is nice and basically set and started. So we're gonna take our 10 millimeter, and then down below is a 4 millimeter. So 4 millimeter is gonna go on the bottom, and just basically get this snugged up all the way around. They are locking nuts, so that's nice. So snug. Don't over snug them, because it is plastic that you're kind of snugging into. So, and we'll get all 4 done. And voila, we are all set there. We're all done. So that's very nice. So we'll get a final shot of that. All right, so that's all done. And I've got the license plate plugs all in there. We'll kind of sort this all out in a minute. Now we're ready for our MotoDynamic tail light and get this thing ready to install. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and unwrap this, and then we've got to get our bushings in there. So we'll get it unwrapped, and then what we're going to do is grab our little bushings. We've got the 2 little tabs here, which are going to clip on there, bink, bink, and those are right off of the old light, so those just fit right on. You've got 2 sets of two sets of rubbers, so the rubber grommet goes in here, the bigger ones, and the other big one is up here. And then on the sides, you've got the 2 rubber grommets there and there. So now we've got all the rubber grommets in there. Now, the metal little spacer that goes in here, I've lost one, so I've got to find that. So we're going to set this aside for now, but I think I can get this run. So we'll go ahead and pull this off, and all of our wires are going to sneak in through the tail. Basically just route them the same way they came. I'm going over to the right where they came from. And now we've got all that route. So now what we can do is slide this tail light into its position, and you'll see, let's see, it should go on the top. So we're gonna kind of drop down. There we go. And let's see, I believe, there we go. There we go, there we go. All right, so the rubber washers, again, those are gonna go on top, and then these are gonna go on top, and then the little rubber washers on the side, we're gonna push those in and in. So now we've kind of got everything somewhat locked in. Ooh, yeah, baby. All right, so now we've got the wire mess, but that's fine. We're gonna sort that out in a second. Let's get all of the fairings buttoned back up. Let's get everything tightened back down and get everything sorted out. All right, so we've got the bottom tabs on. Now what we're gonna be doing is we're basically just going in reverse. So we're gonna add in the 2 screws, Phillips heads on the side and the side. And then we're gonna add the 2 on the top here. Actually, those we're gonna wait up. I found my bushing, I found it. It's right here. Came out with the nut. All right, so bushing goes in there. Bushing goes in there. And then we'll get these 2 screws in. Remember these little metal bushings, because that's gonna keep everything from flopping around in here. All right, so it's good and tight. Let's make sure these 2 sides here are screwed in all the way. And it's good. All right, so now we're gonna grab our top cap. So remember our top cap, we're gonna pull it in from the beginning, slide it out, get it in a little doohickey there, slide it forward, and that kind of takes everything back together. Now, does that go? Yeah, that goes on the top. So then we've got our 2 silver screws, which we took out of the top, goes in. So much cleaner. Oh, I love it. All right, in there. All right, so basically we've got the tail all tidied up. So what we're gonna do is let's get these wires kind of sorted out in here and get everything plugged in and all nice and tidy. And then we'll be ready to roll. All right, so I kind of got everything tucked away next to the little ECU. I kind of tucked the little resistor plugs in there. And these are our license plates, so those can stay out there. And then this, so this we want to keep out. This is our little OBD2 plug, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So we're going to keep that kind of out. And we'll go ahead and get this little tray back in. So we want that out there. All right, guys, well, that wraps up everything for the new MotoDynamic tail and sequential integrated brake light. God, look at how nice and clean this is. Very nice. You know, I was very impressed with the MotoDynamic stuff from the Aprilia. Went on very nice. Although the plugs were a little messed up on here, very easy to get that adjusted. Give you guys self about an hour on the install on this, okay? It's not a hard install, but give you guys self about an hour. I would say it's kind of a medium to easy install. But let's take a look at the sequential brake lights. So very nice, brake light on, very cool. Blinkers, sequential, each way, very, very nice. Very cool. And again, you guys can see just a very clean install on the tail. So make sure you guys stick around, and thank you guys for watching episode number 1 of the MT-03 build. We've got a lot of stuff going on, so you guys will have to stay tuned. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, smash that like button. It's more important than you guys know, but ring the bell notification because it's gonna notify you when we've got more MT-03 content. Now, if you guys are new to the channel, Ducati Street Fighter, Tuono Factory, we've got a BMW S1000R, we've got an ultra rare. We have another ultra rare on a truck on its way to California right now, so make sure you guys stick around. OG guys, I always like to drop things with you guys on what's going on. I accidentally bought a classic car the other day. If you guys know bringatrailer.com, don't go on bringatrailer.com. I placed a bid for a car and accidentally won. Bogdan's like, how'd you accidentally buy a car? I was like, not planned. I got a steal of a deal, I'll tell you that. But so stick around. We've got a 1965 car coming. We've got an ultra rare. So thank you guys for sticking around for this video. Stay tuned for more, and we'll see you guys next video. Bye, guys.